I think they should pick up the phone and call him. I mean, they need to talk, right? When you look at guys who can play center field next year, if you're the New York Mets, tier 1 in terms of just ability and overall is Aaron Judge. Tier 2 is Brandon Nimmo, and there is no tier 3. There might not be a tier 4 either. It falls off a cliff after Brandon Nimmo. And if I'm the Mets, I prefer Nimmo for a couple of reasons. One, he's going to come a lot cheaper than Aaron Judge will. Two, he's Brandon Nimmo. You love him. You've loved him forever. But Judge is attractive, if for no other reason. He gives you a little bit of leverage over Brandon Nimmo. For all the reasons I just mentioned, Nimmo's got a ton of leverage over the Mets in these negotiations. You know Scott Boras, his agent, is going to want to drag this out into January, maybe into February, get you to the spot where your alternatives are Nimmo or nothing, and you have to figure it out on the fly. But if you go early in the offseason and say to Aaron Judge, hey, look, here's a realistic offer, would you consider it? All of a sudden, you have an alternative. You have a little bit of leverage over Brandon Nimmo that you didn't have before. Maybe you don't have to get into that place where you have to pay Nimmo basically whatever he wants or whatever Scott Boras wants. So I think it's worth having the conversation. You never know. If Aaron Judge does want to come to Flush and come to Queens, it's a pretty good ball player.
I have to believe that after the World Series, the Judge scenario takes over certainly the baseball world, right, and becomes the most interesting and intriguing possibility. But I would be very afraid of losing Brandon Nimmo. It's a guy, listen, I love that he sprints to first base. I love that he sets that example. Does every player have to do that? No, they don't. To me, he does that organically, and that comes naturally to him. I like that he plays hard. I like that he's team first. I like that he has evolved into, in my opinion, a really good player and a really good Met. I would hate to see him out of the loop. I like the guy.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he should be a Met next year again. And look, we got to sort of accept the idea that it's going to be pricey.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about Brandon Nimmo and you don't think, maybe you don't think initially, $100 plus, maybe even $110 plus million player there. But that's the kind of contract that this guy is getting. And frankly, he's earned it. He is an excellent ball player. I love what he did defensively, making himself a better center fielder. And Tony, you're right that the center field market after Judge, who would be a little bit out of position there if you made him your full-time center fielder, but beyond Nimmo, I mean, it craters. Kevin Kiermaier has a club option, and you got to hope that the Rays don't pick it up, whatever the number is. I don't know, because he's the only sort of guy out there who you could see like, oh, okay, we'll go defense first in center field. So there's a lot of work to do there in center field. The Mets, they got to have one of those two guys, Judge or Nimmo.